So guys, we have another question here where we have three fractions to add. So the question is combine 5 over 9 plus 11 over 15 plus 7 over 24. So we want to add those three numbers together. So what's going to happen? So we got to find the lowest common denominator, because you cannot just say, ladies and gentlemen, the common mistake that somebody can make, and I think you guys are not going to make that by now if you're following these videos already, just to say, okay, 9 plus 15, 24, 24 plus 24, 48, and then you do 5 plus 11, which is 16, 16 plus 7, which is 23, and then you are done. No, you can't do it like that, okay? So you can't. So now that means you got to find what we call the lowest common denominator. We have videos on that. Please go back and check them out. But we still, anyway, going to work on that right now. So lowest common denominator or lowest common multiple or least common multiple. So what does that mean? We're looking for the number that can divide 9 evenly, 15 evenly, 24 evenly. So those three numbers, the number that we're looking for should be able to divide each of them evenly. Okay, evenly means that once you divide it, you're not going to get a decimal. Okay, so that means what? So we're going to take each of them and then break it down into prime numbers factors, what we've been doing from before. So to get the lowest common denominator, all right, so we got to take 9 and break it down. So how do we break 9 down? It's got to be 3 by 3, correct? That's the only thing we could do about that. 3 by 3 or 3 by 3 by 1, if we want to. Now the next thing that we got to do is what? It's 15. So how can we break down 15? 15 can be 3 by 5, all right? So 3 by 5. So 3 by 5, which is 15 times 1 also, if you want to, that's okay. Because you cannot go further than that. Remember, we're trying to find prime numbers, okay? Numbers that can divide by themselves and they can divide by 1 only, period. Okay? So now 24 could be what? 24 could be 6 times 4, for example. 8 times 3, for example. So if you have 6 times 4, you got to go further than that, right? So this one is done here. This one is done here. So now this can be what? How can we break down 6? 6 is 2 times 3. And then 4 is 2 by 2. Okay? So you have 2 by 3, 6 by 2, 12, 12 by 2 is 24. So now this is how you can break this one down. So you have all three of them. So now you're looking for the LCD, the lowest common denominator. So what will be the lowest common denominator again? You collect all the different prime numbers first, which are what? You got 2, you got 3, you got 5. Okay? So let me put the 3 here, and then you got 5. The next question is, how many times do we have 2 here? 0 times, correct? How many times do we have 2 over here? 0 times. How many times do you have 2 over here? 3 times. So we're going to take 2 3 times. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2 so far that we're collecting. All right? And then, how many times do we have 3 here? Twice. How many times do we have 3 here? 0 times. How many times do we have 3 here? Once. So that means we're going to take 3 twice, because this is the highest time. So we always take the highest time it occurs in one of the denominators. That's it. So we're going to take 3 twice. So this will be 3 by 3. Okay? So now you see why I was leaving some space in there. I mean, even if you don't know, it's okay. You can pile them up and then multiply later on. So now, how many times do we have 5 here? 0 times. How many times 5 here? Once. How many times 5 here? 0 times. So we're going to take 5 once, because it occurs here only once. So 5 is once. So 2 is 3 times. 3 is twice. And then 5 is once. That's how you find your lowest common denominator in peace, guys. Okay? In peace. Take your time, break it down, and get it like that if you are using your head. Okay? If you're using your hand and your head, that's how you do it. Now, if you're using your calculator, it's a different ballgame. All right? So now we got to multiply these numbers to see what are we going to get. So it's 2 by 2 by 2, which is 8. We know that. And 8 by 3 is 24. And 24 times 3. Okay? So that one is 72. And then 72 by 5. So 72 by 5 is going to give us 360. All right? So it's going to give us 360. So LCD is 360 afterwards. So 360 is your lowest common denominator because that's the lowest number, the least number that can divide by 9, that can divide by 15, that can divide by 24 evenly. All those three numbers differently. So now, once you get the lowest common denominator, how do we go ahead now? So I'm just going to get something here where you have mostly in US be done. You know, when I was teaching in New York, so this is how we were doing it, okay? And it's still done until today. So you actually, for many places, okay? But it doesn't mean that that's the same way that it's done everywhere else in the US. So when you do that, so this is the same thing as having what? So this is equal to, so we can put it into vertically, right? Instead of horizontally, we do it vertically. So it's 5 and 9, okay, plus 11 over 15 plus, then you have 7 over 24. All right? So these are the three different, you know, fractions that we have. Now we're going to figure out how we get to the numbers, right? So this one, 5 and 9, so we're saying at this point that we have lowest common denominator, which is 360. So that will give us what? So this one is equal to, then is 360 here, is 360 here, is 360 here. All across, correct? So now we got to make adjustment. That means 360 divided by 9 is how many times? So 360 divided by 9, 36 divided by 9 is 4. So 4 and the 0, that gives 40 times. So that means we're going to multiply this one by 40. That means this one was multiplied by 40. 9 times 40 gives you 360. So you have to also do the same thing on the top. So 4 times, 5, which is 20. So that's 200 here. Okay? So now you're adding this one too. Okay? So you're adding this one too. So now you got to do the same thing here. So 360 then divided by 15. So 360 then divided by 15 will give us what? So you can do your calculations, right on the side. So, or use your calculator, but at this point we're not using calculator. So 360 divided by 15 is going to give us 24 times. Okay? So it's like you're doing 24, multiplying here, and then 24 here as well. Okay? So you guys can do that just to verify. Okay? So 11 times 24. So 11 times 2-digit number, what happened to it is you just have the 2 and the 4, and then you add the two numbers together to get the number in the middle. Okay, again, you have 24, and 2 and 4, and then you add 2 plus 4, which is 6, so that goes here. That's how you multiply the 2-digit number by 11. Okay, that is also. And then plus, so now 24 and divided into 360. Okay, so that would be 15 times. All right, so you guys can do that work there. So it's 15 and then 15 here. Okay, so 7 times 15 is going to give us what? It's going to give us 105. Okay, 7 by 5 is 35. 7 by 1 is 7 plus 3 is 10, so that's 105. Then you can just equal this and then add all these numbers together. So it's 200 plus 264 plus 105. So 264 plus 105 will give us what? 369. And 369 plus 200 is 569. So 569 over 360. Is there anywhere where we can simplify? No. Meaning that there's no number that can go into those two evenly at this point. So this is it. So you're done. Pause it. Do it again. We're going to have quizzes where you guys are going to be able also to test yourself. Okay?